I understand there's this temptation to cover the papacy as a political office. It is not a political office. It is a spiritual office.
Secretary, it was announced today that you're headed to Rome for the Pope's inaugural Mass. Pope Leo, in different parts of his life, has spoken passionately about the plight of migrants. How do you reconcile what the Vatican has said on compassion for migrants with the Trump administration's policies?
Well, first of all, the Pope is not a political figure. I know he's covered like one, but they're not. They're the earthly head of the Roman Catholic Church. And the Church has strong social doctrine teachings, and I think there is not incompatibility. We too are compassionate towards migrants. I would argue there's nothing compassionate about mass migration. There's nothing compassionate about open borders that allows people to be trafficked here. There's nothing compassionate about either to the American people about flooding our country with individuals that are criminals and prey on our communities. There's nothing compassionate about any of that. But I would caution all of you and everyone, I understand there's this temptation to cover the papacy as a political office. It is not a political office. It is a spiritual office. And it is one that it has social teachings that are aligned with the faith and with the gospel.
A question asked in Washington, echoing all the way to Rome.
Secretary, it was announced today that you're headed to Rome for the Pope's inaugural Mass. Pope Leo has spoken passionately about the plight of migrants. How do you reconcile the Vatican's calls for compassion with the administration's immigration policies?
First of all, the Pope is not a political figure. He's often covered like one, but he's not. He is the earthly head of the Roman Catholic Church, a spiritual office grounded in faith and social doctrine. And I don't believe there's any incompatibility here. We are compassionate toward migrants. But there is nothing compassionate about mass migration. There is nothing compassionate about open borders that allow people to be trafficked. Nothing compassionate about flooding communities with individuals who prey on them. And nothing compassionate about policies that endanger American families.
This temptation to treat the papacy like a political office, it's a mistake. It's a spiritual role, guided by the gospel and the Church's teachings, and those teachings are not incompatible with national policies that prevent chaos and exploitation. Mass migration harms the very people it claims to help those being trafficked, and it harms citizens when millions enter illegally. If 1 million people arrive illegally and even a small fraction are violent criminals, that creates real victims. That isn't compassion.
And by the way, this isn't snark. The Vatican has rules about who can enter and who can overstay. Every sovereign nation does. We are the most compassionate nation in the world.
But I don't believe those are incompatible with a national policy that tries to prevent mass migration, which is not compassionate to people that are being trafficked into our country, and is also not compassionate to people in the country who suffer gravely. When 1 million people come here illegally, if 1,000 of them are dangerous criminals, those are a lot of victims, and that's not fair either, and that's not compassionate. So, by the way, I mean, and I don't mean this to be snarky, but the Vatican has rules about who can come in and who can overstay. So every place has that. It's what you do to protect your sovereignty. We are the most compassionate nation in the world. Every single year, 1 million people legally migrate to the United States permanently. Permanent residency. No other nation is nearly as compassionate as we are. We've been doing it for a long time. But it can't be 5 million people a year that come, with 4 million illegally. That's just not sustainable, and there's nothing compassionate about it for Americans.
Every single year, 1 million people legally migrate to the United States. No other country comes close.
But it cannot be 5 million a year with 4 million entering illegally. That's not sustainable, and there's nothing compassionate about that for Americans. This wasn't just a press question. It was a global debate about faith, borders, and what compassion really means.